everyone, Screaming Geek Me here. I am Jerry the Geek. Today we got a 4K review for you. We're going to talk about Over the Top. But before we get into this, if you like physical media, 4Ks, Blu-rays, DVDs, like home theater movies in general, please check out my other videos on my channel because I do these reviews. I do unboxings. I do collection updates every month. I do different discussions. Check that stuff out. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Turn your bell notifications on. So let's talk about the 4K of Over the Top. You know, the movie came out originally in 1987, rated PG. Yes, Sylvester Stallone, Robert Loggia, Rick Zomo. He plays the big bad guy in it, Bull Hurley. Directed by Manaheim Golan, which he's done a lot of stuff, but a couple of the mainstream movies that you might recognize from him is Delta Force and Enter the Ninja. A lot of other stuff he's done I really don't recognize, but he's done quite a bit. For me, the movie ranks up there, one of the all-time greats from Stallone. I've always loved this one. You know, it has to do with arm wrestling, trying to regain his, he's been estranged from his wife and, kid. He basically goes on his trip, picks up his kid, and, kind of wants to rebuild that relationship with him. Robert Loggia, he plays the wife's dad, and he doesn't want Stallone's character to have anything to do with the kid. He's not in his life. He's screwed up, so he does what he can to not let the kid go with him. Now the 4K here comes from Capelight Pictures. They do quite a bit of stuff. I know this is the first time I've got anything from them. So the movie was filmed in 35mm, finished with HDR10 and Dolby Vision. And from the opening scene, this thing looks freaking phenomenal. I mean, opens up with the driving his truck around these mountain roads. You got the big vistas in the background. It is stunning. Has a lot of depth to it. The details really pop. A lot of close-ups. See all the facial stubble and all the, beads of sweat. The colors are really nicely saturated. Definitely what really stands out for me was during the opening sequences, you see Michael, graduating from the little military academy. And for me, when it comes to 4K, I love military stuff because just the uniforms, all the badging, stitching, that stuff really pops off the screen. And it does here as well. The blue pants, the black tops, everything else just looks incredible. Now, comparing to this with the Blu-ray, I still actually do have the old Blu-ray that came out a long time ago. I want to say 2009, somewhere in that time frame. And man, even though the Blu-ray looks, I mean, if you don't have the 4K and if you got the Blu-ray, it looks decent. Some good details, but the colors are very flat, really muted, and it doesn't have the depth of, doesn't have the field of depth where the 4K brings that out, gives you that depth. The colors look incredible. Again, with that opening scene of them driving through the mountains, the vistas, it looks freaking phenomenal where you put the Blu-ray in and it just looks blah. So yeah, this thing looks miles ahead of the Blu-ray. I wish I would have done some screenshot comparisons. I don't do it as much anymore. It's very time consuming, and plus, boils down to where what I show you is not going to be a true representation of what you're going to see, depending on, the player and TV setup. So I just don't do screenshots a lot anymore, just once in a while. But I wish I would have done it here because there was a big difference between the two. Now, moving on to the audio, they gave the DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 and a 2.0 track, which is a little bit different because the Blu-ray had a Dolby True HD 5.1. And not a whole lot of difference between the audio. It's still pretty solid overall. It's nothing that's gonna, you don't have gunfire, a lot of things. You don't have a lot of use of surrounds, just a little bit here and there. Mostly with the music score, all the soundtrack really fills a room with all the speakers. Now, during the arm wrestling tournament indoors, there was some really nice ambience there from the surrounds. So pretty decent overall. Now for the packaging here, this is actually a steel book and something different because a lot of times you get the J cards or, the where it's actually taped, glued on the back. They did something a little bit different here that I haven't seen. It's not a J card, it's kind of like a little slot the steel book actually sits in. So I thought that's kind of interesting. It has all the info in the back. And it's a gorgeous steel book. It's kind of got some shine to it, but it's got a little more of a matte. And everything is embossed. It looks really nice. Yeah, I got a couple other steel books from them at the same time, and they're the same way. So they do an awesome job. Here we got the back here. We'll open it up. You can just see the whole thing. And we'll pop the disc out so you can see the inside artwork. And from the main match shot there. Again, this is my first time I've got dealt with a Capelight. I definitely would deal with them again. Very nice work here. Again, gorgeous steel book. Now, as far as bonus, there's not a whole lot here. I basically just have, promo trailer, and just a couple other trailers as well. So that's really lacking there. And looking at the old Blu-ray, it only had one trailer, so they really didn't do anything different. So to wrap it up, this is a great recommendation as far as upgrading. If you've got the Blu-ray, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. This looks phenomenal. A lot of times, 4K is going to be slightly better, but yeah, this is miles ahead of the Blu-ray. Again, the only downside is the bonus. I think this is a movie that deserved a little bit more to it. I wish they would have done some kind of documentary, so a look back, have some interviews. That would have been really nice for this. But again, since this is a German release, Warner Brothers does have it as far as, it comes to the U.S. They haven't announced anything. So in my opinion, I think this will get a U.S. release eventually. And I would see Warner Brothers be the ones that do it. Unless they license it out to someone like Arrow, which recently did Cobra. So we'll have to wait and see, but I would love to see a nice edition of this with some more bonus features thrown in. Warner Brothers is starting to do, with the Clint Eastwood movies they've been putting out recently, they've been adding a lot of bonus. So I think they would be willing to do something like that. So, fingers crossed that, we will see a U.S. release of this and have a little bit more bonus. But if you don't want to take a chance of waiting, I would recommend, getting this from Capelight. These are still available. I mean, a steelbook here is converting to US. It's running about $41. Media book, you can see pictured here, is about same price, $41. I'm not a big media book fan. I personally don't like them. There's a lot of people out there that like them, so definitely keep that in mind. You got choices. And plus they have a combo. You can see here, it's a combo media book with the steel book, and it runs about $77. But then you got to figure, and I can't remember what shipping was. It's a little bit, considering it's coming from Germany. That's why I ordered a couple other steel books to save a little bit of money there. So again, if you're a fan of this movie, if you don't want to wait around for a U.S. release, and you don't mind spending a little bit of money, this is worth it. I really highly recommend getting this from Capelight. I'll leave the links below for the steelbook, media book, and then plus the combo. Click on those links, go right to it, and see what you think if you want to get this or not. Again, there's been no announcements for a U.S. release, but I think it will come. But if you don't want to wait, this is awesome. I loved it. I don't regret it at all. I'm very happy with this. So that pretty much does it for my look at the over-the-top 4K here from Capelight Pictures. Comment below, let me know what you think. Are you a big fan of over the top, wanting to see it on 4K? Are you willing to spend out the money to get this imported, or are you going to wait for it? Either way, I highly recommend it. Please check out my other videos on my channel. Like, subscribe, turn your bell notifications on, and we'll see you soon. Geek out.